Welcome to the Wakefield Doctrine, the theory of Clarks, Scotts, and Rogers. This is episode 15 in our Video Friday series of video posts that we do every Friday as a part of a series. And as regular viewers will recognize the mill plant up ahead, that means we're on interview row. However, we don't have somebody to interview, but we have something a little bit different. Last week, you'll recall we had Downspring Glenn on, and he made the observation that nowadays everybody's in a hurry. We got to deliver the goods fast. Front end, first 3 minutes, I think is what he was saying we should be doing with these here videos here. So taking that to heart, because I agree, attention spans have shortened up. And Downspring Glenn being a Scot, he should know, they being the people of short attention span. So we're going to try a two-part. It is now 26 past the hour, so I'm going to do a former post, a post that we've already done once before, and let's see how that reads. And if that works, we'll do it again. If not, we'll just call Avery Brooks and tell him not to bother. So let's start with the post on this Friday. And I don't know, I wrote it and I don't know where to begin with it, so let's just start with, please make yourselves comfortable. Feel free to browse through the table of contents over there on the right hand side of the screen and flip through all of the posts. There's a lot of information to cover and not a lot of time. So in a nutshell, C-Pod or Lunchbox, the Wakefield Doctrine is the following: a fun and useful way to understand yourself and other people, a theory of personalities that is much, much more than all those other theories you read about. The doctrine says that, hey, there are 3 personality types in the whole damn world. You and the person next to you. And the folks back home can be seen as being any one of these 3 types. They are all Clarks or Scotts or Rogers. All you have to do is figure out which one the person is and you'll know a whole bunch about them. Figure out which of the 3 you are, and you will not only know a whole lot about yourself, but you'll be able to change whatever things you might want to change about yourself. Things that you may have been trying to change for a long time. That's what the doctrine has. That's what the doctrine offers. Of course, there's a lot more to it, but for you that have to read more and say, and that sentence didn't make any sense. But to get you started, we will say this: the Wakefield Doctrine is gender and culture neutral. And if you find yourself saying, hey, Mr. Wakefield, sometimes I'm one of these Scots, sometimes I feel like one of those Roger people. To you we say, what's the matter with feeling like a Clark, huh? Clarks don't do that feel it shit, do they? Anyway, we would say, welcome to the Wakefield Doctrine. You have all 3 personality types, of course, but you're mostly one of those 3. Don't worry about it. Besides, we like to think this doctrine thing is a lot of fun. We might be talking to someone about something in the news, and one of us around the doctrine will turn to the other and say, oh, that Obama, what a Roger. Or we might say to each other, you know those Progressive insurance commercials on TV, that Flo person, how much of a Clark is she, huh? So this is not just a website. The doctrine is not just a website you go to and take a test and find out what your personality type is. We have fun here because we see Clarks and Scotts and Rogers out there in the world, and they act just like the doctrine says that they should act. It's getting that we don't even have to make this shit up anymore. The Clarks and the Scotts and Rogers prove that the theory is totally true. Today we want to reference, before we finish up here, one of the pages from the table of contents, which you can go in and read for yourself, but since we're doing an audio version, we'll do it for you. Jeez, what a post. Anyway, you might be a thing, and for those of you who are familiar with Jeff Foxworthy, comedian, did a thing where his shtick was built on the idea you might be a redneck. So if we do anything really persistently, we borrow stuff around here at the Doctrine. So we did that with the Wakefield Doctrine. So bear with us here. So you might be a Clark, Scott, or Roger if the following: you immediately stop surfing the channels when you come upon a show that uses only black and white documentary films and pictures. You might be a Roger. You're supposed to be doing this with an accent, aren't I? You totally love Christmas lawn decorations and cannot possibly imagine having too many lights. You might be a Scot. You come out to your car in a parking lot, you find a flyer stuck to the windshield wiper of your car. You then take the time to unfold it, and read it. You might be a Clark. You are asked a question, and you start to answer the question with, quote, "In the beginning, the implications thereof, you might be a Clark." Boy, Jeff is not going to be worried about this, is he? You are addressed by the wrong name, and you answer it without corrections. Hello, Clark. We have the answer you're searching for. You build model cars, ships, and planes. You always put the extra parts that are left over back in the box, refold the instructions, and seal it all. You are a Roger. You think that the 107 episode director's cut, 15 DVD, unabashed edition of the compilation with writer's notes including what he had for breakfast and voiceover reading of the credits by someone who knew someone who was a reenactor who actually got hurt at an event of all Ken Burns films, PBS episodes and commercials that last longer than most readings of the Iliad, is the greatest film of all time. You are truly a Roger. This is not that much fun, so let's stop. I am a Clark. All right, so let's end this portion and get back on the road, guys. I've got probably 2 minutes to do some current events and end this thing. So that was a post. The idea sort of came from a friend of the Doctrine, Mel, over at the Spatula. He tried a podcast thing, string beans, not string beans. Anyway, he tried that, and I don't know how well it worked, but since I'm willing to try virtually anything for the Doctrine, we did the audio post today. Other news is things are getting active. We've got some new people coming around. Molly and Claire, you've probably seen referenced and linked out to in the regular Doctrine. Claire has a pretty cool blog. Actually, it's got a couple of them. Jeez, I don't know where she gets the time and the material, but go over to the when you're at the Doctrine. We've got a couple of links out to Claire's blog post. I believe it's clairepeak.wordpress.com. And Molly M, who's been very active working with Downs DS1 and other people. She's been very active too. I got an email from a friend of the Doctrine, Nell, who seems to think that she needs to have a hat sent for her damn head. She's outside of the country, so I'm working on getting the shipping directions, and we may have our first foothold on another continent. Hey Nell, if you're listening to this, check the mail. We'll send that hat out. It will be wonderful. So guys, I think that this would be the end of episode 15. Let's hope it all comes out and is so wonderful that you can't help but write us a comment or see us on Facebook, all the other different places that we're at. And the t-shirts are still progressing. We do have the slogans have been decided, and the finalists, actually the winners, are on the back. We're going to say Wakefield Doctrine, Theory of Clarks, Scots, and Rogers. Clarks, parentheses, tap, tap, tap. Is this thing on? Scots, hey! And Rogers, which I give the progenitor credit for. Rogers, quote, they're not just for dinner anymore. I like that one. So, that's the latest from the Wakefield Doctrine. See ya.